Hey detailers, podcast sponsor Joe here from Autofiber Australia. As pro detailers, we are all about using the highest quality products for our customers when it comes to compounds, chemicals, and ceramic coatings. But what about microfiber? Are you using cheap towels that get used once and then tossed into the bin? You need to try out our amazing Autofiber range of microfiber. Seriously, it is the best stuff going around. Use our exclusive podcast code 15DDUP and get 15% off when you purchase any of our premium Korean or Chinese made microfiber. We have a wide range of products that are tailor-made to last a long haul, so you get the best value for money and your customers will appreciate it. Go to autofiber.com.au or find us on Instagram to make your purchase and check out our range. Now back to the podcast.
Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dale Guthrie. Back again, back into it. Going really well, as I always say. So yeah, probably one thing I did mention off the last episode that, I don't probably promote what we do and ask for likes and shares too much. So, but yeah, if you are into that, and I know some people do with stories and tags and stuff, which is pretty cool. So that's good. If you know anyone detailing or anyone that's into cars, maybe shout them out and say give us a listen and tell us what we're all about then, and that'd be handy. So, but I don't really push it too much. So, like we'll say, we're in a sort of niche market, so I don't focus too big on numbers. But that's what I didn't get into the game for anyway. But it's good, but it's going well, and the continuing the quality. So, also, I will make mention again that we do have the merch. So that's been ticking along well, and getting rid of a few shirts, so that's good. And thanks for everyone's support who's been buying them as well, which is even better. So it's good that I know other details and everyone does merch, which is pretty cool to get your brand out. So that's just another way of promoting what we do here, and it's good. So, but I've tried. I thought we've been talking to this bloke for a while, and we've finally teed it up. No fault of anyone's. I just sort of mix up what we do every week, every fortnight, pretty much. So, and going back to Adelaide, so keeping it in the great state of South Australia. So, like to welcome Brad from Flawless Finish Detailing in Adelaide. How you going, mate?
G'day, mate. How are you?
Very good. So
we finally got it happening.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah, I'm hard to catch, and we had a few things on today, so we are on a weekend. So I record whenever, really. So
hey, no shame in having a busy weekend.
Yeah, it is like that. Yeah, and on a Sunday night, arvo. So it's good. But how's Adelaide? You pretty ordinary weather up there.
Look, it's Adelaide. I mean, Adelaide weather's sort of been like it's been like Melbourne this last week or two. It's been it'll be sunny one second, then it'll be pissing with rain. I think a couple of Wednesdays ago we had 40 mil come down, and apparently a hail warning. So everyone started freaking out again, and like Adelaide people do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Adelaide's sort of Adelaide. If you've been here once, you can pretty well see it all. It is a small town, like a lot of people tend to say.
Yeah.
So
big country town, I reckon it is. I don't mind it actually.
Yeah, it's like Murray Bridge, but on a bigger scale, pretty well.
Yeah. It's very good. So we'll get into it. So we'll probably backdate. How did Flawless Finish? Where did that all start from?
So I was listening to the episode earlier today with Jason DiCarlo, and in the first probably 5 minutes, I actually heard some very similar things between him and I. So I actually started out as a diesel mechanic by trade.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty well from when I left school in 2014. I come from a trucking family, and my old man and my brothers have always been earth workers, diesel mechanics, or truck drivers. So I sort of played around with a combination of the three, and then fell into being a mechanic and got into sort of fixing trucks rather than driving them. And then, I sort of just along the way found myself into some cars and just love keeping me cars clean. My old man always used to say to me, mate, you clean that thing that often, you're going to take the fucking paint off of it. So, and, I haven't changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think I originally started up Flawless Finish in, I'm going to say about mid 2019, I reckon, mid 2019. And then, I sort of did it on the side and on my weekends while I was still a diesel mechanic and, going to work every day fixing trucks. And I did it after work, or I'd get cars over during the week and chip away at them each night and all that sort of drama. So
how did you know what to do? Were you just self-taught yourself again?
Yeah,
Like
pretty
most
well,
of us?
mate. I was pretty well self-taught with everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Was that mobile, or were you still just working from home?
Yeah, so I had a big mobile component of it, certainly. I one of my first cars that I was doing detailing out of was like a little 1993 Ford Festiva. It was a little two-door. And that, to sort of fast forward a little bit, that became a really funny thing. It was like a bit of a novelty because I'd roll up to clients' houses with, AMGs, Audi R8s, et cetera, et cetera. And I've just got this little, I used to call it like a washing machine because that's literally what it looked like. It was white. It was a two-door and it had, like a bit of a weird back seat, and it was pretty well like a big washing machine. And I rolled around Adelaide going all these different places in that. And then, I've still got my garage set up now. So I've just got a bit of a kitted out garage with, my neighborhood's worth of electricity and lights. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think we all can relate to that one.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So, probably one thing I do know about you've been talking to Matty Gibb and getting some training off him.
Yeah. So,
on top of training topic.
Old Matty Gibb, yeah. So Matt Gibb. I actually met Matthew through my gym, funnily enough, because I met him there, and I guess trying to expand my business name and my reputation, I basically left business cards at my gym. And he sort of saw the FenLab badge on my business cards because I'm obviously certified installer through them. And he contacted me about getting, I think, a couple of products, and obviously I didn't have them. But then I just sort of got talking to him because obviously, he was into his detailing and so was I. And then the relationship sort of just developed and flourished from there. And we got into this relationship, and he's mentored me, and I tell you what, I can never ask him enough questions. He just knows so much.
Yeah.
So he's taught me a lot about, paint correction and, even just the chemical side. And even he'll say he doesn't know everything, but that's a lot more than what I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I even chat to him even ever since the pod, like even before that. And he's a wealth of knowledge, and you can tell when you talk to him. And so, it was one thing he did say that he was, getting some training. He was training you, so that was pretty good. That helped with, because were you doing much before do you have much of an idea of what you were doing before?
Again, like I really came across as the whole just self-taught. Like I think my first polisher that I started out with was like a Auto Plus or something. It cost me like $120 from Autobarn, and it did me pretty well for my first, I'm going to say 2.5 years. And, I got to a point, I mean, this thing had like not a lot of guts, not a lot of torque. It was easy to stall it. But, so I sort of, taught myself a lot, and, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of asking questions, and I got myself to a point where even when I first met Matty and he came round and he had a look at it was a black Navara that I was doing that had the classic, the bush pinstripes down the doors, and it was black. So it was fucked. And even he said, like, mate, for a guy that's got no formal training, like you're actually doing it right. And I think Matty's role was basically just to step in and just sort of tweak my technique a little bit here and there. And ever since, I've sort of just relayed some info, back and forth to him. And we've sort of just chipped away at sort of making me, I guess, the detailer that I am today as far as paint correction is concerned. Yeah.
So you do a lot of like heavy cut bad cars, or I notice a lot of your stuff's near new stuff. So is that
Yeah, I
obviously
mean,
helps?
unfortunately, that Instagram account that you're looking at is my new one. My original one got hacked late last year, so all my original content is on my Facebook, but depends how far you want to scroll back.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've had some doozies. I had a two-tone 1996 Crown Majesta, that the old Toyota, so the bottom half is a metallic grey, and then the top half is just a solid gloss black, and it was trashed, and that was 4 or 5 days of my time that
Oh wow.
yeah, I don't think I'll ever see again. So
Yeah.
mm, mm.
Oh, nice.
And then yeah, like getting into more of your Euro cars and your Euro clear coats, and obviously they're as hard as bloody concrete. Some of them, especially Porsche clear coat that's like polishing concrete. That shit.
Yeah.
It's rewarding when it's done, but trying
Yeah.
to respond is not easy.
What's your go-to pads? Has Matty taught you much about pads? I know he loves his pad
Um,
technology.
He has taught me a lot about pads, and he's introduced me to, a lot of the foams that he gets from, Geckotex and whatnot, or Geckotech, or however it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Out of Europe. And, yeah, like he's given me a few samples and I played around with them, but my go-to, and some people might shoot me down for this, but the good old Shine Mate pads.
Oh, yeah.
I don't so much use their yellow foam cut. I used to use their blue foam quite a bit, but my go-to finishing pad is the old red Shine Mate. I know there is probably better out there, but I've just got probably a solid 2.5 years with that, like, experience with that pad, finishing down everything from soft Japanese clears to high-end Euros to a bit of everything really. And that's sort of my go-to, my bread and butter essentially. Yeah.
That's I know people might go, oh no, this is better or that's better, but I'm very similar. Like, you sort of stick to something and then refine that process on how to use that product.
Yeah.
And then you know it inside out backwards then. So like you
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have got into my Roops walls and the yellow foams. I actually do really like the yellow foam now, and the yellow the yellow wall, that's a brilliant pad for especially a lot of what I do, being the Euro clear coats. So I'm getting into the Roops market. Obviously, I think it's a bit of a known issue now amongst the wider community that something's gone up with their foams on their wall pads, and that you give them a bit of curry and they just start to fling shit everywhere and they just deteriorate. So look, I am bad for only using say 2 or 3 pads on a car, so I probably am a bit hard on them, but so getting there.
Slowly. No, that's all good. What's your what were your main services when you started? Was it just the basic washers you started with?
Yeah, so when I started, I was pretty well just the guy that did the inside outs. Obviously starting out, you're never going to be the best at anything that you do, but I used to really focus on the exterior. That's what I wanted to nail, and I took me a bit of time to sort of stumble my way into getting my interior quality up there. I did. I think I used to have it was like an inside and out that was pretty basic. And then I tried to sell like a full package detail, which had your clay, your iron removal, your inside out, sort of bit of an extensive detail. And I used to try and take, I guess, 4 to 5 hours just, to put in that time so the customer sees that effort and sees that quality at the end. So really 2 packages before I was really into paint correction. Yeah.
And was it busy back then? Is it just as busy now?
Back then, so my first year with the business, I still had a day job. I was still a diesel mechanic.
Yeah.
Throwing spanners around a workshop. So I would get, with the limited bit of advertising I could do, because obviously I still had a day job to go to, I'd get, maybe 1-2 cars a weekend, or, once I got into paint correction, I'd sometimes get cars that the owners would let me hold on to at my place for, say, 5 days or Sunday till Saturday, and I just chip away at it every night. So, look, at the time, it was busy enough that I could make some, a bit of beer money for the weekend, and put back into the business and buy some stuff to keep going.
Yeah.
And then as it's progressed, and I've moved out of a day job and I've gone self-employed, it's picked up, and each year. Notably, each winter has just sort of gotten busier and busier, which of all seasons, if I can make my winters busier, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
So
No, that's good. What was the probably the turning point from going from diesel mechanic and then into full time? What made you do that?
So I obviously I spent my life as a mechanic, and I loved it. I love playing around with engines and ripping shit apart and cars, trucks. I'm very much about it, but towards the end of my time, I was sort of struggling with where I was at. I was at a big dealership. It was a Western Star and an MAN dealership, and it was just one of them places that had 8 co-owners all trying to tell a team of blokes what to do. None of them agreed, so that was a nightmare. And the turning point for me really was because I was going to the MTA at Royal Park here in Adelaide, and I spoke to my lecturer and I said, mate, what do I do? I've got this side hobby that I love, and that's what I want to do. But obviously there's the security of the day job, but the day job is just mentally, it's not doing me any favors.
Mm.
And the example he gave me, and I've told this example to so many young lads. Dave Askew, shout out if he's listening. He said to me, mate, you can love trucks. No one's arguing that you love trucks, but do you love it enough to do it 10 hours a day, 6-7 days a week for the next 20 years of your life? And at that point, I had to turn around to him and say, well, no, I don't. I do love that, but I don't love it that much. And he said, mate, that's okay. It just means that you've got an answer now for what you want to do with the rest of your life. And probably within 2 months, I was out of there and I went self-employed. And the timing was really funny because I actually made the decision to go self-employed at the tail end of 2021. So right before COVID really went to shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, end of 2020. So right before everything really went to shit, and I took the nosedive into being in one of the most unsecure financial positions of my life. But I'm still here, so it all worked.
Yeah. Well, where did you advertise, or how did that work?
So
to bring in?
I used to get into I was really involved in the car scene back then. So I used to go to car meets and hand out business cards or put stickers on my mates' cars and a few of my personal cars and my partner's personal cars. We'd park the car up and we would just line the front windscreen with pamphlets or business cards and just let people sort of pick them off. And then there was obviously the good old Facebook group, like the Buy Swap Sells, the BMW groups, the Mercedes groups, the Holden groups, just everything. I advertised like crazy once I fully went self-employed. And yeah, that was pretty well how we got started and how I got my foot in the door with detailing and into, I guess, the wider community of Adelaide. And it's just sort of taken off from there.
Yep. Was your when you're sort of mobile? Because are you still mobile or partly mobile? Yep.
Yeah. So I'm actually still very much mobile. I think a lot, even though I've got my setup where I am at home, and I've been graciously given a setup at a BMW dealership that I do a bit of work for now. I think probably a good 70% of my work is mobile.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't have my fair share of paint protection and paint correction and whatnot, but if I was to put it in some kind of a ratio, there would be at least 60% of it, 60 to 70% of my work would be mobile still.
Oh, nice. And that's why I know Adelaide is not Sydney, but do you have your limits where you go and where you don't go?
Geez, mate, I'm coming from the background that I do, being a bit of a country boy from KI, and obviously the trucking lifestyle, no drive is ever too long or too short. So I live just south of Gawler, up really right up the northern part of Adelaide, and I've got a client of mine with I think it was a GLC 63 AMG, and he lives out past Crafers at Iron Bank there. So sort of towards Mount Barker way. So I'm happy to
Yeah.
go, down there, do his car and come back and, sort of ride off 6 hours of a day, so to speak. But like, it's good fun. Like I enjoy the drive. It's just where I come from, part of what I do, part of
Yeah.
what I've been. Yeah.
Adelade's not that bad to drive around. It's pretty good.
Look, now that South Road's pretty well done and we've got the Northern Connector, it's actually quite easy. But I think, trying to do it, even if you said 10 years ago or 5 years ago, fuck that.
Yeah.
Not fun.
No, oh, it's good. Yeah, I knew you were mobile, but I didn't know what percentage or how much. Yeah. No, that's good because I love hearing from mobile guys. You guys do it very good and tough.
We make it work is one way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We make it work.
So how'd the BM gig, how'd that start out?
So my gig with Adelaide BMW. So I got a phone call from them. I got headhunted by them, so to speak, just shy of 2 months ago now. They called me up, their PD manager, their pre-delivery manager, and he wanted me to come down and have a chat. And yeah, I've sort of found myself in the position of doing all of their, well, not all, but probably a large portion of their new car pre-delivery work. So I've seen everything from your IX, electric vehicles to most of your M cars to your X3s, your X5s. I've seen some cars that I can't quite talk about just yet, but they will be getting released soon, which I'm very excited for. So,
wow.
And yeah, I mean, they keep me busy. So last month, or the month that I did with them, I think we got through 103 103 new cars, and then I think 20 something used and 30 something minis. And yeah, so it was just over 150 cars. Now, obviously, that's not all me. There was a few other subcontractors that BMW used, but BMW have been gracious enough to sort of give me a detailing bay and let me set myself up in there as like a sort of little temporary studio. And yeah, they give me sometimes 4 cars a day.
Wow.
So I'm there from sometimes 6:30, 6:45 till about 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. So it keeps me on my toes, literally.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
How'd they go with your pricing with them? Did they try and screw you down a bit? But then you probably know you got volume.
In all honesty, I was expecting to have to go in and fight for a lot more money. I was expecting to walk in there and them sit me down and say, right, we're going to pay you 150 a car. Turns out it was a bit more generous than that. I think it was it is around the sort of 250 to 275 a car or something like that. It's sort of, I tried the standpoint of arguing for more and, trying to make it sort of car size specifics. Obviously, like a little 1 Series to a big X7 is a whole different, sort of ball game. But I think we sort of just agreed on a bit of a fixed price per car.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it's look, it pays the bills. It's given, like we sort of said pre, podcast, it's the business climate in South Australia right now, and even the economy is just, it's a bit all over the shop. So it's, even if it wasn't the pricing that it is, it's just consistent work just to carry me through, and especially being that it's winter as well. So it's pretty lucky. It's pretty good timing.
Yeah. You wouldn't say take what you can get, but it's probably not hard work really, or they're sort of fairly decent cars to work on.
Like I'm getting cars that have literally come straight from Germany, straight off a boat. They've still got the plastics on the seats, on the screens, everything. I'm getting cars that they don't have owners. They've not had any other seat but the driver's seat sat in. Don't get me wrong though, the exterior condition is variable from car to car. So I had a couple, actually the week just gone. So, I had a couple of X3s and a couple of X5s in Alpine white, and they're just riddled with iron fallout and just, you'd be surprised. New cars are not new cars anymore. No. Minis are really bad. Minis come with this, it's like this preservative pre-delivery wax, and they put it all in the door jamb, but then there's just these random splatters all around the body. And
wow,
you need like a spray bottle of tar remover or Prepsol or something, or a DA polisher, handy just to get the shit off. It's a pain in the ass, but
right.
So that's what I mean. It's not just, you think of a new car, you think, no swirls, no nicks, no dents, no scratches, no iron fallout to remove, nothing. But the reality is these cars, they come out the factory and they'll sit in the shipping yard for 3 or 4, 5, 6 months in the elements. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of variable work, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do they get them coated, or how's that? Do you do that side of it as well for them?
Oh, yes and no. So they've got in-house fellas that will do their BMW, like their name brand protection. It's called Seal and Protect. Their first generation of it, from my understanding, was essentially just a hard wax. Now they've actually gone to an SiO2 compound, or an actual, quote unquote ceramic. What it's made of, how good it is, what it compares to, I got no idea. They sort of don't pay me to do it. They've not asked me to do it. They just sort of get me to sort of get the cars either prepped for that, as far as just get them clean, and then the in-house guy does all the polishing, which, we've got a couple of older school fellas down there that, they're like Matt Gibb with a rotary. Like, oh, mate, a crack shot with a rotary, I'll tell you what. So yeah, they sort of handle that internally, and because the thing is as well, what they've explained to me is if they get a non BMW employee to apply it, they can't cover it with warranty.
Right, yeah.
So, and then because I tried sort of being a FenLab or Fine Lab, however you want to say it, applicator, I try to sit there and say, well, hey, how about you get me to do this with my stuff? Because obviously I can coat PPF, vinyl, glass, matte paint, wheels, calipers, plastics, a bit of everything. But they were pretty adamant that, nah, if it's not our product, it's not covered by warranty, therefore forget about it. So, okay, no worries. I'll take my back seat and just keep cars clean. I'll just wash cars. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I didn't know. I wonder what they use, or you always wonder what some of these dealerships use or what they don't use.
Yeah, look, the PD manager, Danny, I did ask him for an MSDS and, some kind of documentation to at least tell me what it's made of. And I said to him, like, look, like, no offense, but like, if it's dog shit, I'll tell you. And yeah, he said he's got it, but I've just not bothered asking for it because I'm not really going to be using it. So it's much of a muchness. So they can deal with that.
Yeah. Ah, cool.
Yeah.
What's how did the FenLab stuff come about? Did you trial any other coatings before them, or?
So I think, yeah. So I think, like a lot of young or, fresh into the industry detailers, we all started with the tried and true Sequartz UK. I think we've all had our days with that stuff. So that was my sort of introduction with paint protection. And then I was sort of going on, and I think from memory, because this is going back nearly 3 years now, I posted in a detailing group on Facebook about, maybe I think it was something to do with a better product, or a product for this or a product for that. And I got hit up by, there's probably a few people out there that will know this name, old Romy Nassar out of Sydney.
Oh,
and he's the Fine Lab rep and distributor for Australia.
Yep.
So yeah, I sort of got onto him, and now him and we've had a really good working relationship for the past 3 years. And yeah, the places he's taken me with FenLab. I'm now one of 2 applicators in Adelaide. I think there's more in SA. I think you were saying at one point there's a few down your way as well.
Yeah, I got one down here.
Yeah. But I mean, if you compare it to, and this is not, talking shit or anything, but G Technique, there's every man and his dogs with G Technique, and that's not a criticism. Like, I know it is good stuff. It's it's a big brand, it's a big company, and credit to the installers, it is very much a community. But I sort of take pride in knowing that us FenLab boys is, you can count us on one hand, and I think there's a bit of uniqueness to it being such a small group. So
yeah. No, we always talk about G Technique. Nothing wrong with them, but obviously that's their market. It's like the market.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're doing something right if they do have the reach and the vast community of applicators and installers that they do have. So, like I said, like, it's not a criticism by saying that every man and his dog is with them. Like, it's like if they've made it that far, power to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what's the other one? This Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken. So that is old Romy, that is actually his brand. He's actually developed that himself.
Yeah, right.
So he's actually gone down the line of playing with the graphene side of things in coatings. And what I love about that, as far as nanotechnology is concerned, is it's the one. I'm sure there is probably others by now, as we speak, but it's one of the few coatings out there that the liquid itself actually has atomized graphene particles in it. So it's like if you can imagine, if you were to grind up like pencil graphite and put it in like a suspended fluid, and it goes like a real milky gray color. Well, not milky, but it goes like a gray color.
Yeah.
That's what this stuff is. So I think the top of the line one is their self-healing, the 5-year self-healing, and that stuff is it's incredible stuff. It can be a bit difficult to use on some paint systems because it does have some harsh solvents in it. But mate, I tell you what, when it works, I'd put it up against even the best from Fine Lab, the best from G Technique, the best from Guyon. Like it's a good coating. It's a really good coating.
Yeah, right.
And I think, Romy's starting to get some installers around the country. So I know there's RPM up in Queensland. There's a few fellas in Northern Territory. There's a number of us down here in SA. Obviously some local Sydney boys, because Romy's from Sydney, and I think Melbourne's got a number as well. So that's getting out there. I think there's probably more Kraken installers than there is Fine Lab at this point. Which is a funny thing to say, considering, Rom is obviously he's the distributor for Fine Lab Australia.
Yep.
So yeah.
Wow. Do you sort of, how do you sort of, because you're running two, how do you sort of sell both of them, or how would you work that?
So like I said, the Kraken stuff it's great. I just find that it's one of them products that, like I said, because of the harsh solvents in it, it's more suited to your Euro metallic, so your harder metallic clears. Because what happens, and well, actually, even I had an RS3 for a customer that it was in Nardo Grey, and I went to use this stuff. And what happens with solid colors is, and again, there's probably some chemical experts out there that are going to say I'm full of shit, but this is just my interpretation of it.
That's good.
Essentially, what I found was the solvents are harsh enough that what they do is they soften the clear, and the graphene particles, even though they are ever so fine, they will micro mar the paint. Now, what we have found is the remedy to that is you have to use a primer polish. So, like your Carpro Essence, your Guyon primer, or I think there's one from Modesta, whatever, BC something. If you use one of them on them paint types, you're pretty good. You're pretty safe. But a lot of your harder Euro clears, or even some of your moderate, like your Aussie paints like Ford, Holden, they take it pretty well. But it can just be a bit finicky, and it is very humidity dependent. So like and I've had this conversation with Romy, if you're one of us boys that has a bit of a garage set up and you can't exactly climate or humidity control it, it can be a bit of a pain to work with. It's not a consistent experience on every car. But again, I'm not bashing the product. I love the stuff. It's when it works, I would honestly stack up some of the best name brand coatings against it. It's just getting it to work on every paint type the same can be a bit challenging, depending on, probably your location, where you are relative to sea level, your work setup, just everything. Yeah. Yep. Finicky, but if you get it to work and you spend the time, it's great.
It's great. Yep. How does FenLab? Because I don't think I've really spoken to anyone with FenLab. I don't think. Probably have, but
yeah.
How's that go down?
Great, honestly. FenLab is what can't I say about it? FenLab, as far as nanotechnology and how they form, how the product. I might go off on a bit of a tangent here, so forgive me.
You're right.
How basically the blend of the silica compounds forms ladder structures at a nano level on paint is it's next level stuff. From my understanding, and I could be wrong here, and I'm happy to be fact checked, but I think the head of FenLab was one of the original, basically ceramic coating, like not inventors, but he was one of the first people when it started coming out as far as development goes. And then that sort of carried on until today, and they're still doing it. They're still innovating. They're still coming out with products for everything. Geez, we've got everything. We've got plastic. We've got tire coatings. We've got a coating called FineLab or FenLab Industrial that you can literally coat concrete and wood with. Yeah, we've pretty well got a coating for everything. But as far as user friendliness, yeah, I honestly think it's a product that can't be matched. So, for example, their base coating, which is FineLab's or FenLab's ceramic light, it's not a coating that's a high solid coating, so to speak, but it's more of in extreme gloss enhancer, extreme water behavior. I don't know what the degree of water contact angle is, but it's pretty damn good. But on a winter's day, you can put it on a panel, let it sit for 40 minutes, and wipe it off like a paint sealant, like a spray sealant.
Yep.
And then, once you get into, your 3-year, your 5-year, your self-healing, like considering what they are, the ease of use is just, it's next level. It's really good stuff. And the nanotechnology behind it as well is pretty up to date.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, how's that go with, I know GN's got their mobiles coding for mobile installers. So how did yours go all right, be mobile?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you really wanted to, if you had, I mean, I'm fussy I don't really like doing mobile paint protection. I prefer to have, at least a sealed workshop or a studio, or whether it's at my place or whatnot. But if you wanted to, yeah, if you're the kind of guy or you're the kind of business that does a lot of mobile paint protection, paint correction, ceramic light, or even ceramic V3, which is their 3-year, would be perfect. Considering how much time you can let it sit on a panel and you can still be pretty safe. Like, you don't have to worry about, premature flashing or, risking of high spots or anything like that. You can sort of just get it on, let it sit, do your thing, and then just take it straight off and it'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because my experience with FenLab, I had a customer and they just bought this new Porsche, and we did speak about it. And he goes, oh, they got some coating on it because the dealership done it. I said, oh, yeah, cool. They didn't do any interior stuff, so I'd done all that and the wheels for him. I gave it a wash and I said, I'll see what's on it. And it only had 800 Ks, but it was beating off unbelievable. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're definitely coatings on there. There's a FenLab sticker in the door.
Yeah, and it was actually Romy who got FenLab into Porsche.
Wow.
It was actually him. I think it's more in the eastern states. I don't think it's so much over here yet, because obviously Porsche in South Australia is owned by, I think, the Eagers company, who also own Adelaide BMW. So I don't think it's in there yet. But I know in a lot of the eastern states dealerships, Romy sort of got FenLab into there. So
yeah.
That's
wow.
a bit, yeah.
Well, I was just shocked that they said, yeah, the dealership, I don't know if they got someone in to do it or they now do it in-house, obviously, got trained up to do it. And, it was a pretty good job. So, I was quite surprised. And, yeah, it was beating flat out. So, but, yeah, it was brand new. So,
yeah. I mean, what specific coating it would have been, I don't think either of us could probably say, but... Yeah, FenLab and their water behavior is, they sort of pride themselves on that, next to their silica technology. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was definitely good. Oh, well, that's good. And another one is you've dived into the car care product range as well.
Yeah. I think we could say dived in. Yeah. So, 2F car care. I sort of went down that track because I sort of figured, anticipating some quiet winters or some quiet periods of the year, I'd met many people that they'll never get a detailer to do their car for them there. And again, this isn't a criticism of them people, but it's the sort of people that are like, no one could clean my car better than me. So I took those sort of reactions and I thought, all right, well, if I can't do the work for them, I'll at least try and sell them the products to do that work, So trying to just broaden my sort of reach as far as who I can sell what to. So I've had it sort of kickstarted since November. And still playing around with some formulas a little bit and just getting things right. But yeah, no, it's sort of up and running and sort of moving a few bottles here and there. I'm no Bowden's own just yet, but look, I'm getting it out there. And I've been playing, playing around, and I basically use some of my best cars to sort of fine tune everything as far as formulation. And yeah. So it's good fun. It's certainly something that I enjoy doing. It's actually a good feeling too to rock up to a company or a business or someone's house, and they go, what is that? What is that brand? And I go, oh, that's mine.
Yeah.
And then you start this whole topic of conversation, and you just go so much deeper into it, and yeah, it creates some really good topics. Some really good topics of conversation to have with people.
Yeah, I bet. Is that something, because I know a few other guys around Australia doing the same, having their own range, and then something to pass on to customers once they get the car coated or washed, they can help look after it. Here's a maintenance kit or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that sort of the reason as well that helps along with that?
Yeah. So that's pretty well for right now, because I said to myself, the first 12 months that I've got this, I just want to get people to know the name. I just want them to know, oh yeah, Flawless Finish, Brad, he does that. Like, that's just a thing he does, So I just wanted to get that name out there. And then, so my best way of moving it on now is, obviously I've got, mates and stuff that buy it, but also just, if I do paint protection, and quite often, and you probably know this yourself, you coat someone's car and they go, right, how do I look after it? What do I do? I can just segue into the conversation of, well, here, this is what I use. This is, what I developed this for, to do that job. And, if a customer's already spending 1,500, $2,000, 2,500 more on paint protection to say, well, here's a litre bottle of snow foam and soap for $35 each, extra $70 on top. It's just a very easy, quick little upsell.
Yep.
So yeah, that's pretty well how I'm moving that mostly at the minute. I do a little bit of social media stuff, but I'm a detailer first and foremost. I don't really have any experience in product sales or marketing or anything like that. So I'm sort of just finding my feet with that still.
Well, you're not a chemist?
No, I'm certainly not. I don't mind a little bit of redneck ingenuity, but I've had the appropriate help with the whole chemical stuff. So I'm not just a bit of a Breaking Bad in a motorhome out the back of a lot somewhere. Like I'm actually getting the right help for that.
Is it? I think we might have talked a bit about. Is there much of a process in sort of wanting to get your own, to others out there looking to get their own product out there? Is it?
Yeah, look, a bit
involved a bit.
I think a skill for business in general is networking. Who not so much what you know. Rom's going to love me for this. I'm giving him so much publicity. So actually, thanks to Rom again. He's got some contacts to some chemical manufacturing facilities in Europe and the US, and this is probably nearly 12 years, not 12 years, 2 years ago now. He presented me with this idea. He's like, mate, if you ever want to, get into that, he's like, I can get you some base formulas, and then we can just go back and forth. We can tweak them, however you sort of need, however you want. And sort of, that's where we went. So like I said previously, I've had everything sort of finalized enough for a sale standpoint from November last year, but leading up to that was probably a solid 12 months worth of work, just testing and playing around, and then, getting a graphic designer involved and bottles, and sort of, it was, a good 12 months of just planning and processing, and yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, be a bit involved. What's your lineup of chemicals you got on?
So
on the market?
We've got, I need to find my own bloody notes now. So we've got a tie dressing, a wheel cleaner, a shampoo, a snow foam, a APC, and an interior cleaner. So I'm still playing around a little bit with the APC. I'm trying to actually just, the base formula I got was good, but it just needs to be that more concentrated, so it's more dilutable, if that makes sense. So if I get like a more concentrated raw form, and then I, go say, well, if you want it for this, go 1 to 4. Or if you want it for that, go 1 to 9. If you want it for, blah, go 1 to 20. So I'm sort of I'm still playing around with it, but as it is right now, it is still quite good. I've got a spray sealant, which is quote unquote graphene. It's butoxyethanol, I think, is one of the main, or butoxyethyl, which was one of the main ingredients as a sort of substitute for graphene chemically. And I played around with that on this little shitbox run around that I've got, and I put that on the paint with no correction, no, actual ceramic. And I think that stuff would last, if you said 6 to 8 weeks on its own. Like, you could hammer on it, get it dirty and rinse it off, and it was fine. My biggest problem with that is the stuff is not cheap. I think it's nearly $100 a litre cost price for me to buy.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's cost price. So I'm still...
Shit.
That's the one product I wanna use more of it. I want to sell it, but just getting it to a cost-effective point is bloody difficult.
That's interesting.
Mm.
Oh, well, that's something for anyone to reach out and want to try out.
Yeah, so. I mean, look, and we've gone with some confusing names. We've gone with Latin names, which was, I think, at the advice of my graphic designer. Shout out Nathan Hull if he wants to listen to this. He sort of said, well, why don't we go with some catchy names? And then we went back and forth and we got onto the whole Latin thing. Now, look, I don't remember what most of them mean.
Yeah.
So we've got Fortis, Rota, Purus, Potens, Magnus, and Intra. So there's a few of them. You'll probably work out which one is which. And then everything's sort of nicely color-coded. I try and get the liquids color-coded to the bottle. It's right. One of them things.
Yeah. And that all comes...
I'm qualified at nothing in.
Yeah. So you just get that sent over and that's all bottled and ready to go. You don't have to rebottle it here or anything?
Yeah. I usually get it in like either 20-litre drums or like clear, 1-litre bottles or something. And then I sort of, I put the labels on the bottles myself, and then like I basically bottle them by hand. So like a lot of startup stories, I'm just that one guy in his garage that puts things together for now, at least. So that's
cool. You're having a crack. That's what.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you do a fair range of cars. You got a fairly few nice supercars and stuff.
That's it's an interesting standpoint to take. So we've got as because you'd be looking at my my Instagram now. We've got everything from we've got that Hurricane STO. We've got the GT Black Series. I've had a couple of Hurricane Evos, the 812 Superfast, a couple of really nice cars. Most of them are actually owned by one guy, funnily enough. So this real nice supercar collection that I get to go to every fortnight. It's funny, he'll call me up and I'll go there and they're dusty at best and just says, just do what you do. You know where my keys are, you know how to get in, just do what you do, send me the bill, so it's good clients to have, really good clients to have.
They didn't own a chain of convenience stores, did they? Wasn't them?
What one was that?
The family that used to own all the OTRs in
No, not the Shahins. No. Nah, different guy. This is he's an Aussie fella. And his company, Mastec, so Mastec. They make bins, and he's got a facility in I think every state of Australia plus one in New Zealand. And like you said, he's an Aussie guy, lives by the beach, in his if you said early 60s or something, and he just loves his cars.
No. All right. So starting off, what I always ask, what challenges you had back starting out?
Yeah, wow. Again, like I've sort of said previously, like coming from, obviously I'm not formally trained at anything. I don't really come from business. I come from, country, dirt, trucks, grease, oil. I come from that. So when I sort of decided I'm going to take this plunge into, running a business, I sort of thought, well, shit, I know nothing. I don't know what to do. Like I even, pre-business Brad wasn't the most, confidence-filled fella, let's put it that way. And I sort of did have this bad run of sort of doubting my abilities with things that I can do. So big challenge for me was, getting my name out and sort of then getting enough practice under my belt, and just so I can sit there and, say that I am confident in my ability, that I do know what I'm doing. So there was that. And then just, learning everything about running a business, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Mm.
Um, and around your area is much your culture, as I always ask people as well, like, do you stay in touch with other detailers in your around Adelaide?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously I've got Matt Gibb, who's, oh geez, how far? He's probably 15, 20 minutes from me. I've got Christian from CS Detailing Studio. He's the other FenLab applicator for Adelaide. He's I think maybe 10 minutes from me. And then there's just a few other little, young detailers that I keep in contact with, and that I try and, do my bit to mentor, much in the way that Matt has mentored me, and things like that. Adelaide has admittedly had a bit of a funny culture with detailing. I mean, not that it's Adelaide specific, it's probably Australia or even worldwide. But
Worldwide.
no, I don't know. Adelaide seems to have had this pointless rivalry with detailing, that I don't understand. I really don't, because Adelaide, like we sort of said pre-podcast, like it's a small town. It's a big country town. It's a small city and a big country town. Everyone knows everyone, but it's also conversely, it's so saturated with detailers, but none of us are running out of work.
Yeah.
Like, we've all got enough work to do. We've all got new clients every week. Yet for some reason, there's just, with a few select businesses, and I'm not here to name names or anything, but there's just this pointless rivalry that goes on. I'm not sure. I think that's starting to fade out. I think it's starting to sort of fizzle.
Yeah.
So which is good, because I think detailing needs to be, I mean, amongst many other industries, but I think detailing needs to be much more of a community than it does just a pointless back and forth shit fight.
Yeah. Yeah, we
I
hear
don't
that a bit.
understand
Yeah.
it personally. Yeah.
No, and there's enough cars, like we always say, there's enough cars for everyone. So
Well, like I said, like, considering, when we were talking about my role at BMW, like the amount of cars that we went through in just a month, like 150 cars, that's, 150 cars that have come into the country, they've gone to customers, and that's just in a month. And I think when I was talking to the PD manager, he was saying that they expect anywhere from 80 to 100 cars per month. And that's just BMW. So it's like, there is more than enough cars out there just from that side of things, yet alone, people buying and selling through Facebook and Gumtree and then other brands and whatnot. So, there is so much work out there for people. Yet, I don't know, there's just been a select few, we'll say. If I can, not name names.
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
How does your FenLab mate go? Because obviously you said he's only down the road. So how do you work together with pricing, or how's that? Do you guys have a structure?
Not so much pricing, because he obviously, like, he runs his own show, he runs his own business, his own show. So I've got, nothing to do with his pricing. He can charge what he wants. I think from the coding side of things, the pricing is all pretty similar. So if you're talking the coding application fee, I think the only real variance in our pricing would just be whatever we choose to charge per correction. And I mean, that can come down to how in depth you want to go to getting a car to be as perfect as possible prior to laying down some kind of, ceramic product. So but like Christian, he's a really solid lad. Like, he comes from a bit more of a crash shop background. So, he's a bit more into the whole sanding down paint side of things. But like, we don't clash. We've never had an issue with work, being so close to each other. And that's what I mean. Like, if we can be within 10 minutes of each other and not have any clash of work or clients or anything like that, or pricing or whatever you want to say, that's what I mean. Like, when you start talking about the wider community throughout Adelaide as a whole city, any pointless rivalry is just, it's a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
If we can be 10 minutes apart and not butt heads, and that's great. Yeah.
There's hope for everyone else out there.
Yeah, well.
Far out.
Yeah.
And what could we improve in our industry, you reckon? Is there anything
Oh.
other than probably, like I think we all speak about the rivalries or whatever
Yeah,
old mates doing
that's
down the
that's
road.
just that's just people though.
Mm,
I think it's hard to say that that's a detailing industry specific issue. That's just human beings.
yeah.
How you solve that, I'm not qualified to speak on the matter. So I'm just gonna leave that die. We'll leave that for another person. But look, it's hard because I mean, there's that much innovation in technology yearly. Like, we've got spray on PPF coming now, which I'm skeptical about, but hey,
Mm,
it's not my place to comment. Yeah, look, if I'm honest with you, Dale, I don't know. I don't
mm,
know what needs to be done to improve the industry, so to speak. It's this, like I said, there's just so much innovation, there's so much technology coming out nearly on a weekly, if not monthly basis that it's hard.
yeah. No,
So
that's all
sorry if
right.
that's not the answer you're looking for, but yeah.
No, it's all right.
Mm.
Um, have you got plans to sort of maybe expand, get a shop, workshop or factory?
Yeah, look, I've toyed with the idea. My biggest thing has always been like my garage set up at the minute, my little, quote unquote studio. It's about 6 meters by 6 meters. Look, I will sit there and say that if I could just push each wall back like a meter or two, it'd be perfect. But really, a workshop, short of getting employees, a workshop would only grant me more space that would be good for storing, maybe one or two extra cars, bit more equipment. Um, but for right now, while I'm just one man with one set of hands, it's not the best option for me because, and the way I've always thought about it, like, for say 6 months of the year, well, I'm really busy, which typically ends up being from August until, if you said late February, mid March, it's a great idea. I can justify the expense. It'd be good for my business, good for marketing, et cetera, et cetera. But then those quieter times of the year, I think I don't know. I just, it's another one of them leaps of faith I think you do have to take, but I've just not seen the viability in doing it just yet.
Yeah.
Obviously now, like, I have got my little setup with BMW, which is about, I think it's if you said like a 5x9 area or something that they've sort of let me play around in. I mean, and that's great, but yeah, as far as getting my own place, whether it was 100 square, 200 square, 300 square, it's not a thing for me just yet.
Mm.
But it is something I would like to do at some stage as the next step of progression.
Yeah. No, that's all
Yeah.
right. I always wonder that. And like I'm home based, garage studio thing based,
Yeah.
and I always wish I had a bigger one or had somewhere else. But I think the wife said she'll probably never see me then.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
much as
Well, I mean, the thing is as well with us garage boys is you learn to utilize space very well.
mm,
And also, just to touch on that topic again, is like I said, like my percentage of work that is mobile, if I had a workshop, I'd almost never be there.
yeah,
And that's the other thing is, as
yeah,
much as it would be great, like if I'm only going to be there, say a day or two a week, you sort of ask yourself the question, like, what's the point of having it if I'm never there?
mm,
So,
100%, yeah,
and I've got enough good mates who own, really well fitted out, really clean, like workshops, like Euro workshops, or, the boys at American Motors. Like, I'm sure if I needed to borrow like a couple of square meters to get a car done, like I'm a phone call away from one. So,
yeah.
yeah, I guess circumstantially for me, it's not an urgent requirement for me right now.
Mm.
So,
If
yeah.
it whatever works, and if it's not broken, doesn't need fixing.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
yeah.
Save
No,
me
that's
talking shit for 10 minutes.
no, it's fair call.
Yeah,
No, nice. Hey, we might jump into our 6 stage questions. So,
beautiful.
haven't had to do this for a bit. Oh, yeah. Can you remember your first ever detailing job?
I can actually because the car is at my house right now. So, so it was a 2017 FM Mustang in that metallic grey.
Oh,
And I did it for the owner of a carpet company or a flooring business. And then a story that I won't get into, but essentially my in-laws actually ended up buying the car off of him like maybe a month ago.
Yep.
And yeah, now I see it all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I remember it very well. And it was actually the very first car that I posted on social media.
Oh, nice.
And I charged a whopping $80 for it back then for an inside and out that I took probably 3 or 4 hours on. So
yeah, I think we've all been there.
yeah, we've all been that guy. Yes, certainly.
Yep. Your favourite polisher?
Oh, this is a good one. I love my Roops 21 mil. I do, even though it is an LHR 21 ES, so the Mark One. It people have their opinions of, but I for doing big panels, like big bonnets, big doors. Honestly, it's great. Doing a bit of cutting as well. Like you throw a blue wool on that and some FenLab A50 or, some of your super heavy cut compounds, like it will eat through paint. I know Matty Gibb was fond of his Dynabrade, but the old Roops 21, yeah, that's it for me. Other than that, like I've got a heap of Shinemate polishers. Like I've got I think they're 15 mil, they're 12 mil in both a 5-inch, and then I've got their little 3-inch one as well. So if I had to pick one, the one that I use the most is probably my Shinemate 15 mil 5-inch.
Yep.
That's my workhorse.
Is that the corded version?
Yes, that is the cord version. Yeah. I think it's 3 years old now, that model. I've not had it for 3 years. I sort of got it secondhand from a mate of mine who was a Guyon detailer, and then he sort of he used to integrate detailing into his mechanical business, and then he sort of just phased out the detailing because it just wasn't making the same sort of money. And then he's like, "Here, have these. I don't use them anymore."
So, I wonder what happened to them.
Yeah,
they dropped. I remember them there. Yeah. No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
No, that's good. And favorite detailing tool or product?
Ooh. A product that I'm loving lately is the good old Auto Glim Polar Seal. Like it's very similar to like your Bowden's own Happy Ending.
Yep.
You can actually get the wholesale version from Sydney Tools, and it's called Coat It or something like that. I love the stuff, honestly. Like it's part of, and I'm not going to gatekeep how I do my sort of work, but I think it's part of my sort of methods, and I can't swear by it, highly enough. It's one of them products that, you foam it on, you let it sit for 20 seconds, you rinse it off, and then it just makes blow drying a car so easy.
Yeah.
So that's certainly a product of mine that I absolutely love. And it's a key point to how I do the things that I do.
I'll have to back that up actually, because I was using the Geon wet coat. It's quite expensive, but then after the old mate in the Auto Smart truck dropped by the other week, I'm onto their Aqua Seal. So that's
this
same
is
deal.
Really funny thing. Hate to cut you off there.
Yeah, right.
Really funny thing. So what a lot of people don't realize that I can tell is if you take a product like Polar Seal or Happy Ending or Aqua Seal, or I think there was Carpro Ec2O or H2 or something anyway, similar product. If you mix it up in a spray bottle at 1 to 8, 1 to 9, 1 to 10, it does the same thing as wet coat, and it does a bloody good job of it. But I think because maybe your weekend warrior types, they look at a product label as being like gospel, like, oh, well, wet coat, that's what you use. But they don't realize that if you take a product, that is, these snow sealants, and you mix the liquid up in a spray bottle, it does the same thing, and it works out to be a little bit more cost effective.
Yep.
So that's one of the little things that I started playing around with when I was, messing around with the whole chemical side of things for 2F, and just discovering little things like this. So yeah.
No, it was good. Like it's cost effective because I literally do the same. I spray it on, adds a bit of shine, water beads, then it helps blow dry. So
saves a lot of time. Saves a lot of time. Yeah. It's one of the things that, so when I do these jobs for BMW, like I can get most cars down to about that 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
And that's, look, pre-delivery detail, some people might not think that that's too spectacular or that that's too slow or whatnot, but Yeah, like considering BMW said to me that they allow up to 4 hours a car, and I'm getting it down to 2. I would a lot to that product and a good blow dry.
Yeah.
to sort of help with that sort of time allowance. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when you're there, your time is money there. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Considering like I don't have to get through the amount of cars in a day that I do, but I said to myself, and I said to the higher ups of BMW, like, I'm here to set a precedent. If you're allowing other subcontractors 4 hours, I want to do it in 2. I want to do it in half the time. I want to be that cut above. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's the precedent I want to set. So it's all these little things, they play a role.
Yeah. More cars you do, more money.
Something like that, apparently.
Yeah. Because that Aquasil stuff I got, they throw that in snow foam gun, so we spray that over with that. So that's been pretty cool.
Yeah. Look, like most detailing products, it has its place.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and it was just good to use it and see what they offer, and I had a lot of comments about that stuff, so it's been pretty good. Biggest tip for anyone starting out?
Because I pre-read these questions when you sent them to me, and this was one that I hummed and hard over, because I guess I've got so many, but without turning this into a 10-hour ordeal. Probably my best and my biggest is for all the young guys starting out, and I mean even older guys that maybe are just getting into business. Learn to do a lot of things yourself. So I try and the best that I can mentor some young lads that are starting out. So there's Zach from ZK Mobile, like he's just started out. He's been in it for about 6 months. Even Christian from CS Detailing, a few other young guys here. But I'll see these guys and they'll go out and they'll hire a photographer, they'll hire a videographer, they'll hire a graphic designer. And I understand that I did as far as the product side of things, but what I can't stress enough is learn to do these things yourself. Play around with a camera, play around with Photoshop, play around with, making reels with an iPhone or something. Learn to do a lot of these things yourself, because I mean, and this is just the little bit of guidance I have had in business. One of the key lessons I got taught was it's better to be the guy that makes 70 grand a year and has 10 grand in overheads than the guy that makes 100 grand a year but has like 50 or 60 grand in overheads. So if you can keep your costs as low as possible at the cost of a bit of man hour, a few man hours, or staying up late and watching YouTube on how to shoot cool videos, or buying a camera and taking doing good photography, the more things you can do yourself for the business, the better. And I think there's a degree of pride that should be taken in just being that jack of all trades, the guy that can do a bit of everything, without having to outsource. Like I said, like I'm not gonna be a hypocrite here. Like I have used graphic designers for a little bit of logo work, and obviously my 2F product line, like getting labels designed, because that was a little bit beyond my reach of the graphic design work I have done. But yeah, don't be afraid to learn to do things yourself.
Yeah, I think some of the social media stuff I know I lack in.
Yeah.
And a good one with Ash from Riverside. His reels, like you can just see the work goes into them, and he's not the only one. But
that man is honestly just a god. I watched a few of his reels, like on some of his interiors, and coming from a farm background, like I know what farm utes get, and Jesus Christ, that guy is just God.
Yeah.
And I hope he listens to this. I really do, because like I can't say enough good things about that guy's work. And then his reel quality is just insane. Like, not that I'm going to sit there and say that mine are great. Like, again, I'm qualified in nothing, but just that guy does some quality work. Honestly, like that's the kind of stuff that I look up to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, same. I'm still tinkering with them, and I'm well behind the ball game in that one, but I'm sort of getting better and learning. And
I mean, even I get it, Dale. Like, I don't know how many of my reels you've watched, but I get people all the time when they say to me, mate, what camera are you using? Or, who does all your video work? And I whip my iPhone 14 out my pocket and I go, it's all here.
Yeah.
It's it. I don't use a gimbal. I freehand it all. There's no special camera. It's just an iPhone 14 Pro.
Yeah.
And then just playing around with like just the inbuilt Instagram video editor and doing that,
Yeah.
So
No, it's good.
yeah.
It's there's an art to it. I'm still learning.
Yeah, look, you old fellas, you got a bit to learn.
Nearly.
Yeah.
And what else we got? The interests outside of detailing. What do you get up to?
Oh, look, I like to go to the gym and pick things up and put them back down again. But, I grew up as a country kid, so I sort of like me outdoor activities. Like I grew up on farms, like doing a lot of hunting, doing a lot of shooting, doing a lot of, outdoor, full driving sort of stuff like that. Like I've been around the country, I don't know how many times. And of 12 years of school, I might have been there for 8 or something like that. So yeah, look, speak slower to me just so I pick it up. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of, just country living. And considering I live in Adelaide, like, if I can get out to a farm and, play around and do some stuff like that and a bit of redneck stuff, I've never shy away from it. So a great interest of mine. Yeah.
Oh, nice. You love a bit of ink as well?
Yeah, I do. As you probably see from the camera, I've got a few big pens put in my arms and a bit on my throat here, so I look nice and scary. But speaking to certain people, I've got a couple of my really good clients that have Lambos, like some of the Lambo boys here in Adelaide. 2 of them are Sri Lankan doctors. One's a pediatrician, one's a cardiologist. And not once have either of them turned away from me, turned their nose up at me, spoke to me differently just because I've got a bit of ink. And obviously people probably see like a throat tattoo or, whether it's a face tattoo or whatnot. But like I'm actually surprised that, considering, I guess, how I do look, I've never had any disrespect, anyone shy away from me, which is comforting. But by and large, people seem to be good people. Yeah,
you can't judge a book by its cover. So.
Oh, absolutely not. No, certainly not. No.
A lot of people have ink, so and the quality of the work they do is spot on.
Look at what's his? Forgive me, I don't remember his name. From Fatal Finish.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy, mate. I mean, I don't know Jimmy personally. I've not really spoken to him, but I mean, the man does some incredible work, and he's covered head to toe. I mean, he's got some sick details. Like, I love it. I think it's really good. And if he ever finds himself in Adelaide, I'd love to have a chat to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing. Like, I don't think you can discredit someone's knowledge or experience based on their appearance, based on their looks.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I mean, if I can throw in another tip to, for some young detailers, I know we're sort of sidetracking a bit here, but, meet people like, they know something you don't. It goes a long way to just sort of staying humble, not being a bit of a dickhead, and just understanding that you don't know everything.
No, that's very good.
Despite, appearances and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I get that because I'm not the tallest bloke on running around. So
hey, what is it they call it on the internet now? The whole short king thing. What's called? Short kings. Like, I mean, I might be 6'2", but we've got to appreciate them short kings.
I say it was small men are still men. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, but anyway. No, nice talking to you, man. So that was good. So how can anyone reach out to you? We chatted a fair bit through Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. That's pretty well my main 2. I've got my email address on there. I've got my phone number on there. I think I've got a phone number on there. But yeah, or even just I'm happy for a catch up for a chat, a phone call, just advice. Like, I'm happy to sort of help some younger detailers with a little bit that I do know. Talk about some cars, just go back and forth with cars and things that we like and whatnot. And yeah, always down for a chat.
No, bloody oath. And I think you do some pretty wicked work, so you should be proud of that. So I'm well.
Thank you. Yeah, it means a lot to sort of hear. I sort of sometimes I have trouble gauging how far my name has actually gone, or sort of the interpretation of my work. So to hear things, to get some feedback, it's reassuring that I'm sort of doing something right. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. No, you're doing well, man.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll wrap it up, and thanks for taking the time. And
I've hounded you long enough to get on here, so.
Nah, it's good. another South Aussie, which is good. So
yeah.
And Maddie talked you up, so it was.
Look, I have a beer now.
Yeah. So I think I'll see you in September, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, I think September. You're coming up to the big town to have a gander.
Yep. So that'd be catch up with all the South Aussie boys.
Yeah.
So
looking forward to it, mate.
Be good. All right. Thanks for coming on, Brad.
Thank you, mate. Until next time.
Bloody oath. Thanks everyone for listening. So talk soon. Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.